As a team, we asked the question, how has the United States government impaired society in its attempts to reform the criminal justice system? As a counter-argument, Alex and I present two possible solutions to reform the criminal justice system. Our thesis was, in an attempt to target crime in the United States, the implementation of methods that have proven effective in the fight for criminal justice reform would positively change American society while simultaneously boosting the quality of life for citizens. Now on to Alex with the introduction.
In a civilized society, law and order is the key factor in maintaining the stability and security for the nation. In the United States, we have set police and law enforcers to maintain this job. As we have seen time and time again, many of these policies have failed. If a policy is not fair to everyone or does not serve justice, it should not be implemented even if it is deemed constitutional. Civil liberty and respect for all humans, regardless of race, ethnicity, or religion, are far more important than being constitutionally crafted. First, Tim will start us off with the 13th Amendment through a historical lens.
I looked at the criminal justice system through the historical lens, and my focus was the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment states that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment of crime whereof the party shall be duly convicted, shall exist within the United States. The part that mentions except as a punishment of crime has allowed for the continuation of slavery, a strong racial caste system, through the American criminal justice system. This has been proven through three eras. The first is convict leasing. Convict leasing was a southern labor system that imprisoned many of African Americans for small crimes. Alabama professor Paul Pruitt asserts that the convict lease system should be compared to a child of slavery. The second is Jim Crow and segregation. This encouraged a strong racial caste system. Award-winning author Michelle Alexander says in the New Jim Crow that, quote, every southern state had laws that disenfranchised blacks. Under the 13th Amendment, it was legal to imprison activists like Martin Luther King for acts of civil disobedience. The final era is the era that we live in right now, which is mass incarceration. This was the era that regained control of African Americans. The war on drugs and the war on crime are both the legal ways that imprison thousands of African Americans today. Thus, as shown through history, the 13th Amendment has continued slavery, a strong racial caste system, through the American criminal justice system. Now to Samir.
So I test a policing tactic known as stop and frisk through the psychological lens. Stop and frisk is a controversial policing tactic that allows police officers to stop, question, and detain an individual believed to be armed and dangerous. According to the Fourth Amendment, an officer needs, quote, reasonable suspicion that a crime has been or is about to be committed before stopping an individual. However, based on the policy's terms, the officer does not need to articulate why they are stopping an individual. They just need factual circumstance to back up their suspicion. Therefore, officers have been able to get away with racially profiling the people that they stop. Studies indicate that victims of stop and frisk are more likely to develop psychological damage. Findings from a Columbia University study found that, quote, individuals targeted by stop and frisk had a higher chance of developing anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder. The study also found a correlation between the severity of the illness and the amount of times an individual was stopped and how intrusive the search was. Outcomes have been so severe that individuals reported feeling anxiety from simply looking at the clock and seeing that it was the same time of day as when they were stopped and frisked. Other studies by the U.S. National Library of Medicine, Yale University, and the Center for Constitutional Rights, to name a few, have also conducted studies that corroborated the general fact that victims of stop and frisk are more likely to develop anxiety, trauma, and post-traumatic stress disorder. So, in conclusion, any benefits achieved by the serious policing of stop and frisk should be offset by the serious costs to individual and mental health. Now on to Isaac.
Thanks, Samia. I looked at the drug policy reform through a scientific lens. The criminal justice system has repeatedly failed to properly deal with drug offenders. The Brookings Institute states that 50% of those inmates incarcerated at a federal level are serving time for drug offenses. This is a serious health risk for those inmates who are incarcerated with drug addictions, as they tend to face withdrawal in prison. This leads inmates to resort to dangerous drugs that circulate the prison. With rehab facilities and medical advancements on the rise, lawmakers need to implement these into a system that incorporates them into the criminal justice system. A group of researchers observing the impact of incarcerating drug addicts states that despite increasing evidence that drug addiction is a treatable disease of the brain, most individuals do not receive treatment. These researchers promote the movement to seeing drug addiction as a mental illness. This can be observed in Denmark, where the government delivers state-sponsored heroin to addicts. If America is able to see drug addiction, much like that of Denmark, a safer and more properly managed future could lie ahead for the criminal justice system. Now to Alex with the counterclaim.
Because there is no one way to reform the criminal justice system, we focused on two specific methods. I took an economic lens in the prevention of felonies. I researched the broken windows theory that was adopted by James Q. Wilson and George Kelling in 1982 and first tested in New York City in the 1990s when crime was at an all-time high. Basically, it relates broken windows to small crimes and is used as a policy to prevent larger-scale crimes. If the broken windows are fixed, it can prevent larger-scale crime. To see how effective this is, you can look at the data in the 1990s. From the award-winning book Freakonomics by Stephen Levitt and Stephen Dubner, homicide rates fell from 30.7 to 8.4% in a 10-year analysis in New York City. Letting go of seemingly insignificant crime does not only affect those in highly dangerous neighborhoods, it affects how the entire economy works. According to the American Progress Research Organization, there are social costs of crime, including struggling local businesses and their families, and dirty, unkept streets. There are fiscal costs, including high taxes for police and imprisonment, and $74 billion annually on incarceration. To solve race-based issues and mass incarceration, address small crimes. A fine will be enough to ensure that there are no repeat offenders, as an arrest can have reverse effects like taking good, productive people out of society. The US and other countries should follow the broken windows theory originally tested in the 90s because of the clear results that the NYPD showed: connection to society and attacking the issue of violent crime. Ellie will now give us another counterclaim and solution.
I focus on empathy training through policing through an ethical lens. This is another counter-argument that contributes a solution for the criminal justice system. Empathy training is the implementation of classes in police academies that teach officers how to relate and connect with the citizens they are protecting. The training would result in a decrease of crime rate and fear from citizens during police encounters. In addition, it would increase trust that officers gain from citizens. From a Scholar Strategy Network article, author Chad Posick states, curricula for the training and retraining of police can provide officers with ways to be more effective and improve community reactions to their efforts. The greater the connection officers and citizens have with each other, the less violence will occur. When officers show compassion, citizens feel respected and more comfortable. In Jill Sudi's article, Can Empathy Improve Policing?, she speaks with David Weisberg, a contributing researcher. Weisberg mentions that he wants to see empathy increase in police work because he wants citizens to have a voice. He believes that by respecting citizens, that will keep them calm faster, therefore de-escalating the situation. Despite the idea of enacting empathy training into police work is new and unknown, the results are drastic and have influenced many. Now, on to Isaac with the solutions.
Community members and police officers must mutually respect each other. To initiate this, police officers must become familiar with the communities that they are policing. Becoming familiar allows police officers to properly handle situations as they can recognize specific events that they have previously seen from members of their community. This also allows for officers to better understand what members of the community see as detriments to their society and work towards solutions to fix them. Now to Tim with the limitations.
Some limitations include that people already have preconceived notions about the police. To fix this, it's going to take years and years of trust from the community to have confidence in their police officers. Also, the media must be on the side of the police. Once this cohesive unit is formed, America will truly be the land of the free.
So in conclusion, when assessing the criminal justice system, it's important to understand its historical roots and how it has evolved to today. While it's rich with reformation and positive change, it's also still rife with problems. We need to acknowledge its limitations and legitimize any research and methods that may positively affect society and effectively decrease crime.
Samia, in what way did you improve your ability to work with a group as a result of this project?
So I improved my ability to work as a group because of this, to work with a group because of this project, because I was able to adapt my writing style to blend with that of my peers, and I was also able to improve my communication skills because I needed to properly explain what my paper and my lens talked about so that each of my team members understood what they were talking about, because in order for us to have a good presentation, we needed to be well versed in each other's lenses.
Alex, having finished your project, what, if anything, do you consider to be a gap in your team's research that, if addressed, would make you feel more confident about your conclusion?
Well, since each of us took a different approach to reforming the justice system, there was not many counterclaims that we could identify as a whole team. We found one separately, but coming up with one was not very cohesive to our argument. But if we had a few more, it would make our argument a little bit stronger by getting different perspectives in.
Tim, what is a way in which your team's resolution makes you think differently about your own individual research?
Can you repeat that?
What is a way in which your team's resolution makes you think differently about your own individual research?
Yeah, sure. So our solution dealt with the policing in more of a local level and in terms of criminal justice. So that changed my research because I looked at mass incarceration on more of a national scale, but looking on it more of a local scale with our solution, that made me change my thinking and also improve my overall rating.
Isaac, describe how the content of the team presentation was changed as a result of group discussion.
Yeah. So in the beginning of our research process, we solely wanted to focus on all 5 of us looking at Alex's topic of the broken windows theory, but we struggled to find lenses that incorporated that through for all 5 members of the group. So we decided to broaden our topic to all of the criminal justice system to incorporate multiple lenses.
And Ellie, give one specific way that your thinking changed as a result of learning about Isaac's findings.
So I was influenced by Isaac's lens because of the amount of facts and specific statistics he had, which really helped corroborate all of our claims by actually proving it through statistical evidence.